Sharma, the Secretary General of the Federation of Indian Minerals Industries, that's FIMI. He joins us now. Good afternoon, Mr. Sharma, and thanks so much for joining in. What is your view on this? Do you think it's possible that prices can be capped for natural resources like iron ore? Is there a discussion already on the same with the government?
You see, I do not understand how the Steel Secretary is bringing out a word of reasonable. The very fact that she says reasonable is unreasonable and not correct, because how will you fix the reasonable price? Mines are near the railway station, mines are far off the railway station. Mines have different grades of iron ore production. How you can do that? And further, if you regulate the price of iron ore, which is a raw material for steel, the steel is also a raw material for the downstream products. So if you regulate the price of iron ore, you have to regulate the price of steel, because the downstream products are what the domestic consumers require,
correct,
or what is exported at a competitive price. So this is a one-sided approach, and this is not correct. Further, I also want to add that in the case of Karnataka, one steel plant went to Supreme Court because NMDC was charging a different price for Donimalai ore and different price from Palladilla ore.
Right.
So the court said, I'm just quoting the word, the dual price mechanism is dictated by market forces.
Right.
So the Supreme Court itself has said, and its judgment delivered on 1st September 2016,
right,
in the case of NMDC itself.
Right.
Because every price is still, now see, for example, the government imposed MIP for imported steel plus other fiscal measures.
Correct.
Immediately the steel companies raised the price by 4,000 to 6,000 rupees per ton.
Correct.
And there was hardly any buyer.
Perfect.
So now they are thinking to reduce the price.
Correct.
The question is that the domestic consumer suffers. Steel is a few company, and unfortunately for me, they are able to convince the Ministry
Perfect.
of Steel.
Right.
Ministry of Steel does not interact with the iron ore producer. They only interact with the steel.
Okay.
I think the Ministry of Steel should also interact with bodies like us to represent iron ore.
All right, Mr. Sharma, so that's a valid point you're making. You believe that the market forces should determine the prices of iron ore, and if you're looking to regulate iron ore prices, then you might as well regulate even steel prices. So quite interesting commentary, sir, that's coming there. But sir, is it legally possible? Can they put a cap on iron ore pricing according to you? That's the first part. And also, sir, can they do it? They'll say, okay, we'll only regulate it for NMDC. Is that a possibility when they say, we'll regulate only NMDC and private miners do their own thing? What is your view on both these topics, sir?
You see, the very judgment of Supreme Court of 1st September 2016 was with regard to the dual price of NMDC for Palladilla ore and for Donimalai ore.
Correct.
Because the price of Donimalai ore was more than the price of Palladilla ore.
Perfect.
So the court said NMDC can continue with the dueling prices depending upon the market forces.
Okay.
So, according to Supreme Court judgment, they can't even regulate the price of NMDC.
Okay. And there is no past precedence of the government regulating...
One more...
Go ahead, sir.
One more point I want to make it. I do not buy the argument that the steel industry is not getting the iron ore at a reasonable price. Because as on July 31st, 2016, there was 145 million tons of iron ore lying at the mine heads. Out of that 145 million tons, 123 millions are in Odisha and Jharkhand, which works out to almost 85% of the total iron ore is lying at the mine heads in Odisha and Jharkhand. And most of the steel plants are situated in these two states.
Okay. So is there
there is no scarcity of iron ore.
Okay.
And further, the iron ore industry cannot charge more, because the private industry life is only 31st March 2020.
Correct.
Nobody would like to have a stockpile. One will be able to sell even at a marginal profit.
Right.
So, there is no case of making a huge profit or abnormal profit.
Mr. Sharma, that point is, well taken. Is there any, I just wanted to get in, is there any past precedence of the government in any way regulating the prices of natural resources? Has that been done in India
Never,
before
nowhere.
or globally?
nowhere in the world and not in India at all.
So this is unlikely, you
Always
think,
the
right now?
market.
Legally, it's
Yes.
not done. Globally, it's not done. So you don't think it's possible that the
And-
government will go ahead with that?
Yes, I don't think so they should go, because Supreme Court is the final authority even in the case of public sector body which is under the Ministry of Steel. The Supreme Court has said that the NMDC is perfectly all right to follow dual pricing.
Correct.
One for Baladila over in Raipur and one for Karnataka.
Okay. All right, Mr. Sharma, just a final question then before we let you go. We were talking about this iron ore inventory. I missed that number. What is it? It's 145. What is the inventory that we have that is lying idle? Could you tell us what is the grade of that iron ore? And in fact, you know, is it private miners who are mining that iron ore? Is it NMDC? Is it, no, it
most
cannot
of
be
the
NMDC.
grade,
Yeah.
I can give you the grade.
Yeah.
See, the steel industry requires only plus 62% Fe iron ore in their steel plant. And whatever is lying at the mine head, most of it is below 62%. For example, lumps are around this 12 and 13 million tons, and fines are 103 million tons. Fines they don't require. And then the fines above 62 is 21 million.
Okay.
Lumps above 62% is 8 million.
Correct.
So total stockpile both below and higher 62
Right.
is 145. Out of that, 85% in Jharkhand and Orissa.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharma, for joining in. Always value your feedback.